Hi there. Welcome to the Imperfect Prophet podcast for women who wonder. Frankly, as we go through life, I'm sure we wonder about a great deal. First as little kids, then as adolescents, then as young women, then as transitional women. What are we calling ourselves these days? And then you get to this point in life, or my point in life, when you're postmenopausal and wondering what's next. Wondering if the parade already passed you by. Join me, Wonder Wendy. I'm going to be your host as we talk about some of these unique challenges that face women today in a new millennium, going through menopause and trying to live a rich, full life. There might even be a few men and younger women that want to listen in too. That's okay. But there's a roller coaster and we're all on it. And I'm going to be your guide to help you figure out when you should close your eyes, when you should hang on, and maybe we'll explore some ideas for what works for you if it doesn't work for me, or vice versa. So join the conversation, pick up your favorite beverage, and we'll talk to you soon. Welcome to the Imperfect Prophet. So we all know I'm imperfect, and that's nothing new. But I want to share with you one of my fears. I am afraid of spiders. I am horribly afraid of spiders. I've progressed to the point where I no longer shriek the way I used to, but I still need a dragon slayer at hand who will deal with the spiders for me because I want them taken away. I want them released into the wild where they can deal with the other bugs that I don't want to deal with. But I don't even want to do that myself. When we used to live in a place that had lots of spiders, I would use the vacuum cleaner and then force my mate to go around and change the vacuum cleaner bag for me because I was terrified they might have survived being sucked into the vacuum cleaner, and I would try and empty it and these spiders would come spilling out. Oh my God, just the visual gives me the shivers. So I want to remind you of, there was a movie, came out in 1990, Arachnophobia. Does anyone else remember that movie? Well, I sort of watched it. I watched it with my hands over my face because I was terrified. And I kept, every time something brushed up against me, I was in shivers and I couldn't deal with it. And if you share my arachnophobia, you may be feeling a certain amount of shivers yourself, and I apologize for that. But here's the interesting thing. While I am terrified of spiders, I am disturbed by spiders, I'm fascinated by their webs. I'm fascinated by the beauty of those webs. And if you've ever seen a spider web in the morning light, maybe with some dew on it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So this thing that so scares me that I want to look away, that I want to scream and run away in terror, is also something that holds my heart because it's so beautiful and so wonderful and so strong and fragile all at the same time. There's so much you could say about spider webs. And as you always know with me, there's a metaphor. We all need a web. We all live in a web that is partially constructed by us and partially constructed by the world around us. So welcome to another episode of The Imperfect Prophet with me, your host, Wonder Wendy. I have my morning coffee. I hope you have a beverage, something that we can share together in a convivial conversation. That's yummy. And we're going to talk about spider webs. And if you've got the creeps right now because you don't like spiders, I am so sorry. But it's important that we don't run away from everything in this life, even if it scares us a little bit. So let's dive in, shall we? So what if our human connections are like a spider web? You know, a spider starts with, there's a signpost over here and there was a fence post here, and they build this web between these two objects. And that web becomes their home and their food collection device and their shelter. Well, we're kind of like that spider web. We're between one thing and another, and we're trying to create the best structure to support ourselves. to support our hearts and our bodies and our lives. It's a vast, intricate system of threads, and it links us together with people and places, and people we may never meet again kind of end up on the edges of it. There's the thought. So let's start with the supporting threads, the ones that go straight from that signpost to that fence post, or that wall to that fern, whatever might be available. Those threads that support everything are your values, your sense of purpose, your resilience, your spiritual beliefs, your faith in yourself. If you don't have faith in yourself, you don't have the most essential thread that connects those two objects together and gives you a place to build your life. And I know you are full of wonder. I know you are wonderful. And I want you to believe in yourself and have those strong, central, core elements that build the strongest web, that support you and help you live your best life, a wonderful life. Now, once you've got those cross beams, those things that are supporting everything, you start with those inner circles. And those are the essential people. We all have those people. And if you don't, start looking for them, because there's somebody else out there looking for connection too. These are the people you call on when life cracks open, for good or for bad, when you need laughter, when you need tears. These are the people who are there for you, the people to whom you are most intimately connected. And we know those people. They don't need the backstory. They just say, baby, and give you a hug when you need it. They hand you a tissue when you need it. They start laughing because you're laughing. They presume if you're laughing, it must be funny, and you'll tell them soon why we're all laughing. And when that happens, oh my gosh, have you ever had those laughing fits where, we've talked about it, they're cleansing. And those good laughing and crying fits are also cleansing. And that friend who knows how to make you laugh when you're crying in the bathroom. Hey, open the door. I can't slide chocolate under the door. There's not enough space. You need to open the door so we can get through this. Maybe it's your partner. Maybe it's your best friend. Maybe it's that friend you can call when this happens. Maybe it's your sister, your kid. I love that my daughters are now getting old enough that we can have some real heartfelt, meaningful conversations. You never know who it's going to be. Well, you do kind of know. Some people you can rely on. But sometimes, their phone is on Do Not Disturb and you need somebody. So make sure you've got a rich inner circle. And who's on that list may change over time. But that inner circle, that presence keeps you grounded. And it's important that you have that in your life. So we build these circles. You have the structure. You have the inner circle. And then you have those people who you see routinely, and they may not be inner circle. They may not know that much about your life, but when you see them, they make you feel like Norm in the bar Cheers. Norm would walk into the bar and everybody would be like, Norm, because they knew who he was. Cheers was a place where everybody knows your name. And those moments when you walk in and somebody knows your name, or they just acknowledge you with, do you want your usual beverage or whatever it might be, make you feel seen, and they fill out that next layer. And that's valuable too. So make sure you're getting out into the public, because you know what? Do you know how they learn your name? Or they learn your face, or they learn your favorite beverage order? They learn it because you keep showing up. It's repetition. Yes, it's connection, but that doesn't happen overnight with casual acquaintances. You have to build and affirm and keep showing up. I've been a season ticket holder at the D-backs for 3 years. And for the first couple of years, I felt pretty much anonymous. And all of a sudden, this third year, we went away for a couple of weeks, and a gentleman came up to us when we came back and said, "Hey, where you been? We missed you." I hate to admit he looked familiar, but I couldn't think of his name. And yet he noticed we were missing. If you show up repeatedly, people will start to notice you. And the more you talk to people, the more you will connect. So that's that next layer. And then there's this odd thing, which I've been noticing lately, micro moments on the margins. And I'm starting to cultivate them because they're easy and yet they feel valuable. Yesterday, I was walking out of my yoga studio. That's right. It was after class. I'm leaving, and there's a couple young women carrying their yoga mats, wearing yoga clothes. Obviously, they're going to yoga, but they look a little bit lost, and the signage isn't 100% easy to get to the door. I'll be honest. And so I looked up and I said, "You're going the right direction. Just keep going." Good metaphor for life, but we'll leave that one for there for now. They smiled, looked relieved, and kept walking. Now, I may run into them again. I don't know. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of those young women in the yoga class, they look very much the same. So I don't know if I'd recognize them the next time I saw them. But either way, there was a moment of shared connectivity. And I lit a fire with them. Maybe I caused them to think, oh, that was so helpful. I should help somebody else out in the future. So those are those connections on the margins. The day before, I was coming out of an event at a local hotel, and I saw a family heading towards their car. The two boys were both wearing Diamondbacks jerseys. And I looked at the family and I said, "You going to the baseball game?" Because I knew there was an afternoon game that day. And the dad says, "Yep, we're going. We're going to have a tour of the stadium and then see the game." And I looked at the boys because I knew they were wearing Diamondbacks jerseys. They're going to cheer for the D-backs. I said, "Hey, I need you to do something for me. Cheer really loud. They need to win this game, and they're going to need your help to do it. I did it last night, and they won for me. So I need you to do it today because I can't make it to the game." And these boys beamed from ear to ear and nodded and smiled. And their dad looked very happy that somebody had given them a reason to be in cheering for that game. Well, I'll tell you what, the score that night was 10-1 in favor of the Diamondbacks. And I hope those boys were cheering their little hearts out and feel they are uniquely responsible for that victory. That would be a win. Now I'm reasonably certain I will never see that family again because they were staying in a local hotel on a staycation or maybe on full vacation. Don't know their names. Odds are they're from somewhere else, and I will never run into them again. But maybe, just maybe, I changed their lives that day. You never know what you're going to do just by being nice, by connecting, by saying, "Did you realize you dropped something? Hey, how you doing today? Can I help you with something?" Those contacts on the margins of your web extend it in ways that you could never know. And yet, that good feeling you get in your heart lets you know you did the right thing. Now, the problem with the spider web, it is fragile. A giant human being or an animal walking by can knock it down almost entirely or take a big chunk out of it. A heavy wind can put it in peril. Spider webs break. So do relationships. People move away. Hearts get hurt. Life changes. But that's part of the deal. You can't build a web and just walk away. You've got to keep showing up, reweaving, rebuilding, reconnecting, because the web is fragile, but it's also wonderful. So we've talked about it before. You got to risk something to gain something. And you may build a web and it may be damaged and you have to repair it. It may be knocked down completely and you have to start all over again. But the beautiful thing is, if you've got the tools, if you've got those basic guidelines that build the structure and the people to help you weave the inner and middle and outer, you can do it again. Even if it's with different people, you can do it. Now, I've talked about it before. For the bucket list life, you need to have people, passion, and purpose. 3 basic elements: people, passion, purpose. This is obviously about the people. If you've got the people in your life, you can do almost anything. That is your web, your support system, your lifelines. Like I said, it's going to change. It's not always perfect. And there may be a big hole once in a while when someone you thought was at the central is gone. But if you've built it the right way, you can rebuild it. So, what about this next week? I want you to think about who's in your web right now. Who's missing? Is there someone you need to bring back in, or is there an element you want that you feel is that missing chunk, and you need to go look for that element and bring it back in? Give these some thought. What's a small act of kindness or courage you can offer to strengthen a thread, whether it's with someone close or a stranger on the edge? You know, I gave blood recently. I may have saved someone's life. I don't know. I may never know. I probably will never know. But that connection with the human race strengthens my life. And don't forget those inner threads, how important they are. Tend to your faith, your values, your belief in your own wonder. That's where the real strength lives. So even if you're scared, like I am, of spiders, the web is worth weaving. And you can overcome the fear if you don't get rid of it. Because you know what? Fear sometimes guides you. If you feel afraid of something, that may help you be more alert and be safer. But don't let that fear govern you. Don't let that fear make you stay at home. Don't let that fear make you avoid human connection. Because we are tribal animals. We need human connection to truly evolve to our greatest potential. And as our narrative of the spider, creepy, and the web, so beautiful, illustrates, fear and beauty can coexist. And so can fragility and strength. Something so fragile, and yet the tensile strength of those spider webs is huge. I wish I had real numbers to back that up, but I know that the tensile strength of a spider web is really strong. And let's be kind to the people who make the world more connected, one thread at a time. So I encourage you to journal about this, to reflect on this. Call a friend and share what you're thinking. Send a message to me. Let me know what you're thinking. Either way, I want this message to carry you through your next week until we talk again next Sunday. So I'm going to keep avoiding the spiders, and I'm grateful I have a husband who's willing to deal with the spiders for me. And some of my friends with whom I travel are also willing to deal with the spiders for me because I'm not. And I don't travel with a vacuum cleaner. Sorry, got lost in that thought. But until next week, I'm Wonder Wendy. I want you to have a beautiful, wonderful life that is both strong and fragile because we're human. Talk to you soon. Like what you heard here today? Then we should be friends. I suggest you join my Facebook group. It's a good way to connect. We can have a conversation, ask me questions, whatever you want to do. It is called the Wonderful Bucket List Life. That's Wonder-Full Bucket List Life. Be a bucket lister and join me on this adventure. Or you can go to my webpage, which is Wonder Wendy and Friends, join the mailing list, learn about the book I wrote, adventures that are coming up in the future, and other podcasts. I look forward to talking to you soon, and stay hydrated. Have a great day.